President Biden says what appears to be civilian executions and mass graves in Bucha outside of the country's capital, that's evidence of war crimes. Today, the U.S. and the European Union hitting Russia with a new round of sanctions. Allison Harris has more from the White House. Allison.
Good morning, Adrienne. Zelenskyy has called for more powerful sanctions, not allowing Russia to profit as Russian forces are being accused of killing hundreds of civilians. This morning, we're expecting to see new response from around the world, with the U.S. and allies expected to impose even more penalties on Russia. The U.S. and its allies stepping up sanctions today in response to atrocities allegedly committed by Russian forces, killing and torturing hundreds of innocent people and leaving them in the streets in Bucha. The Biden administration anticipated to announce a ban on new investments in Russia and even more punishment for Russian government officials and their families.
These measures will degrade key instruments of Russian state power, impose acute and immediate economic harm on Russia, and hold accountable the Russian kleptocracy that funds and supports Putin's war.
As the European Commission is proposing a ban on Russian coal, Bloomberg and the Wall Street Journal reporting it's also considering sanctioning two daughters of Russian President Putin. The NATO foreign ministers meeting in Brussels this morning to continue to work towards an end to the war. The White House sending another $100 million in aid to Ukraine. The Pentagon overnight confirming to NewsNation that includes Javelin missiles, and it comes on top of the $300 million in aid announced days earlier, including laser-guided rocket systems and Switchblade tactical drones. The U.S. sending more help to Ukraine, feeling the pressure of Ukrainian President Zelensky's pleas, as questions remain as to how President Putin himself will be held accountable.
If he is indicted by the International Criminal Tribunal and he leaves Russia, he risks being apprehended. President Putin's days of a globe-trotting leader are pretty much over. He's pretty much going to have to stay in Russia. And again, this is going to hurt not just President Putin, but the entire Russian elite. They're really fond of their jet-setting lifestyles.
The National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan has explained that all of these sanctions being imposed by the U.S. and allies are intended to grind down the Russian economy over time. More and more sanctions imposed pushes Russia closer to defaulting, closer to a recession and higher inflation, intended to cut off and isolate Russia over the coming months to stop what's being called Putin's war machine.
Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to click on the red subscribe button below so you can get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.